Hi guys, Casper MMA here, and today we're back with another UFC predictions video on the channel. Today giving my predictions for UFC Fight Night, Moicano versus Saint-Denis. The last UFC event was the Sphere one, 306, which wasn't long ago, and that was a pretty decent card apart from the two main events, like the two title fights. They were like absolute snooze fest, but before that, I thoroughly enjoyed the card. I'm pretty sure we didn't do too well picks-wise because I think I picked quite a few Mexicans, and they got slapped in their own event. Basically, it wasn't in Mexico, but it was like a Mexico themed event, and I think they went like 2-6 or something overall, so it wasn't a good night for them. But before we get into today's card, make sure if you're not already and you are enjoying this content, you go down below and hit the subscribe button. It's free and I really appreciate it. So this week's card is in Paris, France, which thank the Lord, because it means I get an actual good time of the event. Like usually I'm up till I was up till 7 a.m. watching Sean O'Malley versus Merab. This time I'll actually get an early night. Cannot wait. But we have 14 bouts on the card, and we kick things off with the first fight of Balaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. Now, Oki 9-1. I think he's only had one fight in the UFC so far. Yes, he won on the Contender Series, and then had a split decision with Timmy Kwamba. So not the best first fight you can have. I mean, Kwamba was looked alright in that fight. I think got a split decision there, but then he did lose again. So Oki with a pretty impressive record, only lost his first fight in his career. Chris Duncan, on the other hand, another pretty decent record as well, is coming off a loss. That was like Manuel Torres. That was really like quick in the first round. But before that, he beat Yanal Ashmuz. He beat Omar Morales, beat Charlie Campbell on the Contender Series. So he actually got not a bad record, to be fair. Did lose to Borshev on his Contender Series once as well. So that was his only loss, I think. He lost to Jack Pearce back in the day. But this is a tough fight, because both of these guys have got pretty impressive records. Not got many losses either. So tough one to pick. I mean, Oki didn't look like really great in his last fight. So and Chris Duncan lost in his last fight. So it's a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with the underdog here. And I'm going to go with Chris Duncan to get the job done. I feel like he's beat some good fighters. We saw Ashmuz just beat Trevor Peake. Charlie Campbell's looked alright as well. So I'm going to go with Chris Duncan here, and I think he gets the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card to Nora Cornolle, I don't know how you say that, versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Now, I completely forgot when I was picking this fight, that Cavalcanti's only fought about a month ago. I don't know, it wasn't that long ago. I can't remember what event it was. It was Cannonier versus Baralho she fought on. Won a split decision to Josiane Nunes. I think I picked Nunes there, and it was a close fight, I think. But she did lose a split decision there. And she's fighting on this card, because I think short notice, because someone stepped out. But both fighters with pretty good records. Cornolle 8-1, Cavalcanti 7-1. So to be fair, Cornolle's only loss in her career was to her first fight, which was against Jacqueline Cavalcanti by decision back in 2021. But since then, undefeated. She's looked pretty good. She's won twice in the UFC as well. So a tough fight, really. Cavalcanti, the rematch, and she's only lost once to Jindrova by split decision, and since then she's looked pretty good as well. 2 wins in the UFC. So it's a close one here. I don't know how this would fare. I'm leaning towards Cavalcanti here because I feel like she's beat it before. She knows how she fights. She's also looked pretty decent in the UFC. But Cornolle, it's a short notice fight, so tough one. I feel like I'm going to back Nora Cornolle here to get this done. I feel like she's going to win the rematch. I mean, it is a bit short notice for Cavalcanti, and she did only win by split decision in her last fight. I feel like Cornolle's she won by KO in the last one, so she looks pretty impressive. She's fighting in France as well. I'm going to go with Cornolle by decision. Now, moving up the card to Daniel Barez versus Victor Altamirano. Now, Daniel Barez, 35 years of age, 16-6. I can't say I remember his last fight, but it was a loss to Jafel Filho by submission. That was his his first fight in the UFC, to be fair. because he was on a bit of a winning streak in some other promotions, UWC, but then he lost to Phil Ho. He lost on the Contender Series as well to Carlos Hernandez by split decision. So he's interesting record. He's fighting Victor Altamirano, who 12-4, is coming off 2 losses, both a split decision to Felipe dos Santos and decision to Tim Elliott. But before that, he beat Daniel Lacerda, finishes Salvador. Also had a split decision loss to Carlos Hernandez. So this guy's beat both of the guys here. So interested fight here. I feel like Victor Altamirano is the better fighter. I'm going to say that here. I feel like he's had he's won more in the UFC. He's had more experience in the UFC than that. So I think he is going to get this job done. And I think Altamirano wins by decision. Now, I think I'm going to pick a lot of decision wins here. I don't know if there's going to be many knockouts. Hope I'm proved wrong. But moving up the card too. Ailin Perez versus Daria Zheleznyakova. Bloody hell, don't make me say that name again. Zheleznyakova. Yep, that's the one. Russian lady, 9-1 professional record. Only lost coming by KO to Melissa Mullins, who was in the UFC, I think. And she won her first fight in the UFC to Rendon, which isn't a bad win, to be fair. It's pretty decent. Ailin Perez, on the other hand, all I've seen is her twerking in the cage. That's my only memorable thing of her. So, but she is pretty good, to be fair. She's won 3 in a row. Lost her first fight, but since then has looked pretty good. And I'm going to side with Perez here. You know, she's looked pretty good recently. I mean, she showed she is UFC level. I'm not too sure about this Zheleznyakova yet. I mean, she's only had 1 fight in the UFC, so I feel like, yeah, I will go with Perez, and I think she'll get the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales. Now, Lapilus, 20-4, another Frenchman, 32 years of age. All of his losses coming by decision. Most of his wins coming by decision as well. 5-2 in the UFC, some good wins in there as well. He beat Lucran. He won his he beat Cody Starman, lost to Farid Basharat. I mean, he was in the UFC for a bit, and then he got kicked out again, or he left or something. Now he's back again. So he's shown he is winning on the regionals. So he's back again. So he beat Cody Starman in his last fight. Most of his wins come by decision, really. So he's pretty self-explanatory there. Vince Morales, on the other hand, 16-7. He was 3-5 in the UFC a while ago. Lost to Song Yadong, Chris Gutierrez, Jonathan Martinez, Miles Johns. Then left, but he's been on a 4-fight winning streak. His last win coming to by a Peruvian necktie against Hunter Azure in some random promotion. I have no idea what that is. But yeah, he lost on the Contender Series as well. So I feel like it's a pretty easy pick, this one. I'm going to go with Lapilus. I mean, he's got some good wins under his belt. And I'm going to go with him by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Ludovic Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts. Now, Ludovic Klein, I love this guy. He's really good. He's only had 2 losses in the UFC, but they were his first couple fights as well. Since then, he had a draw to Jai Herbert, but then he's on a 3-fight winning streak. Ignacio Bahamondes win is looking good after his win the other day. KO'd AJ Cunningham. Just beat Thiago Moises, 6-2 in the UFC. So Ludovic Klein, pretty good fighter. He's fighting Roosevelt Roberts, 12-4. It's 4-4 currently in the UFC. Actually lost to Ignacio Bahamondes. So when doing MMA math there, he would lose that one. His most recent loss coming to Rebecca, lost to Jim Miller as well. So he's been finished a couple of times here. He's got 2 losses by submission, 1 by KO. So I'm going to go with Ludovic Klein here. I just feel like he's the better fighter overall. And I reckon he could get the submission here. Could get a finish, I feel like. But I'm going to go with Klein to get the job done by decision. Now, moving up the card too. Omar Sy versus Da Woon Jung. Now, I don't know if Omar Sy is relation to Sadibo Sy or something in PFL. I'm not too sure. Probably is. Similar surname. But he is 10-0, undefeated at the minute. He looks pretty good. Won his first fight in the UFC to Tuko Tokos by submission in round number 1. So he looks pretty dangerous. He's got quite a few wins by submission and KO, so he likes to finish people. 28 years of age as well, coming into his prime, fighting Dawoon Jung, who is on a 3-fight losing streak at the minute. So I'm pretty sure this is an easy layup for Omar Sy. I feel like they're giving him a nice guy to boost his record, get him to 11-0. And of course, I'm going to pick Omar Sy here. I feel Dawoon Jung's been finished a couple of times before, so I'm going to go with Sy to get the submission in round number 1. Now, moving up the card, 2. Ion Cutelaba versus Ivan Erslan. Now, I don't know who Ivan Erslan is. I can't say I've ever watched him fight before. I feel like this is his first fight in the UFC. He's been fighting on KSW. He's had a lot of round 1 finishes, either by him getting finished or finishing someone else. But he's got quite a lot of knockouts, 10 to be precise. So he's a very dangerous man. I don't know the level of competition. Obviously, he's been fighting. Whereas Cutelaba, pretty respected fighter in the UFC, I'd say. 17-10, a lot of fights there. Only 30 years of age as well. Most of his wins come by knockout, of course. 6-9 in the UFC. So he's had quite a lot of fights for his age, to be fair, in the UFC. He's fought everyone as well, really. Fought like Teixeira. He beat Khalil Roundtree. He lost twice to Magomedov, who's that controversial stuff and that. So he lost 3 times in a row. But then he beat Tanner Boza. Then he lost again to Felipe Lin. So I don't really know if Cutelaba, he's all right. He's like a bog standard level UFC fighter, really. He can beat some guys, and I feel like he's going to do enough to beat Erslan here. Like I don't think Erslan is really going to be at the level to beat Cutelaba like some of the guys I've beaten before. So I reckon Cutelaba will get the job done, and I reckon he gets the KO here. I think Cutelaba wins by KO in round number 2. Now moving at the card 2, Perez Ziam versus Matt Frevola. Now this is a fight I'm looking forward to. It should be good. Both these guys pretty decent. Perez Ziam on a 3-fight winning streak. Jai Herbert, Figlak, Puelles, pretty decent wins there. Last lost to Terence McKinney, but Frevola also lost to Terence McKinney as well. He's beat Jamie Malarkey as well. So pretty impressive record for Perez Ziam in France as well. Fighting Matt Frevola, 11-4 record. I mean, he's coming off a loss to Benoit Saint-Denis, who was the headliner here, so that was a pretty wild KO. That before that, he beat Drew Dober, got KO'd by Terence McKinney, lost to Sarukian, but I do think both of these fighters are quite good. To be fair, Frevola 34, so he's a bit older than Perez Ziam, and tough one to pick, but I'm going to go for Perez Ziam to get this job done. Frevola coming off a KO loss. Perez Ziam is coming on a 3-fight winning streak. I feel like he gets another win here, and I think Ziam gets the win by decision. Now, moving up the card, we have Morgan Charriere versus Gabriel Miranda. Now, Morgan Charriere, 19-10. He's a pretty good fighter. I mean, a lot of people saying he got robbed against Chepe Mariscal. I unfortunately didn't watch that card. I wasn't able to, but he lost by split decision, so fair enough. But before that, he beat Marlon Zecchini by KO. He's had a pretty impressive record, to be fair. Fought like the best of the best in Cage Warriors. He might have been the champion, I'm pretty sure, at one point. And he looks pretty good, to be fair. He's fighting Gabriel Miranda, who is 17-6, so 16 wins by submission. So this guy only ever wins by submission, which is kind of crazy. He has lost a couple times by decision and stuff. Did lose, obviously, to Benoit Saint-Denis by KO, but came back with a rear naked choke against Shane Jung. So I can see Miranda submitting Charriere here. There's a possibility, but I think Charriere is going to win this fight, and I think he gets the KO in round number 2. He's going to follow suit with Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, moving up the card too, Kevin Jousset versus Brian Battle. Another pretty good fight here. I like both these fighters. Both fighters with 10-2 records, so very similar as well in that sense. Kevin Jousset, 31, coming on. He's on like a 4-fight winning streak, a 2-fight winning streak in the UFC. Kiefer Crosby and Kenan Son, he looked pretty good in that Son fight. It was dominant for the whole thing. On the other hand, Brian Battle, he's got some pretty impressive wins, to be fair. I mean, he beat Takashi Sato, Trey Shangor, Gilbert Urbina, beat Andrei Petroski on the Ultimate Fighter, of course. He was actually, I think Prozovsky's pretty decent. He had his last fight was a weird eye poke situation thing. That was Ange Lusa. That was a bit strange. But yeah, he's got quite a few finishes. So it's a tough one. I honestly see this going either way. I'd be surprised if the odds were like very close. But I think Battle will get this job done. I mean, it's close. I think Battle has a higher chance of finishing Jousset. But I feel like he's going to be close. So I'm going to go Battle by decision. Now, moving up the card too. William Gomis versus Joanderson Brito. Now, there's some good fights on this card, you know. I love watching Brito. Exciting man. 17-3. A lot of finishes. This guy just finishes everybody. I mean, he lost the decision to Bill Aljo, but since then, he's had 1, 2, 3 KOs and 2 submissions. So it's hard to look past Johnson Brito here. I don't know why I picked Jack Shaw to win in the last fight they had. But that was a bit of a weird stoppage, to be fair, so I can't really say much about that because he was a cut on the shin, so it was a strange stoppage. But yeah, Johnson Brito also beat Chepe Mariscal as well in LFA or something like that, and beat Wellington Prado. So he's got some good wins, I can say that. So William Gomis, on the other hand, 13-2 record. Only losses. He's lost to Morgan Charriere, so fair enough. That was one of his losses. But since then, on a very big winning streak. I don't know what that is, like 7 or something. 11 win streak. Jesus, yeah, that's a lot. But 3-0 in the UFC as well. So a good matchup here. Should be an exciting fight. Again, could see this going either way really, but I do think Brito is very dangerous, and I reckon he gets the job done. I think Brito will KO William Gomis in round number 2. Now, moving up the card too. Nasruddin Imavov versus Brendan Allen. Sorry, I keep drinking water. It's just I've got a cold at the minute. My throat is killing me talking this much. But Imavov 14-4, coming off that weird what's it called, that bad stoppage, if you would, to Jared Cannonier. I mean, he still managed to wobble him loads. So not a bad win. Jared Cannonier is a bit shaky at the minute. He basically got knocked out against Barallo in that last fight. But yeah, Imavov, not a bad fighter. Last lost to Sean Strickland. Since then, he had a no contest. Beat Delize. So he's up around there in the rankings, really, at middleweight. He's not a bad fighter, really. Brendan Allen, on the other hand, 24-5. Most of his wins come by submission. We've seen him submit Paul Craig, and he's had a lot of rear naked chokes. He had 4 rear naked chokes in a row up until he fought Chris Curtis. And I actually missed the fight between him and Chris Curtis. I had to get up early, so I didn't actually watch the fight. But I saw a lot of people saying robbery. It was a split decision, so not really what you want to see is getting a robbery win over Chris Curtis on your record. So I do think Imavov wins this fight. I mean, it could go either way, really. I'm not confident Imavov wins, but it's middleweight. You never know. So I think just Imavov has looked pretty decent in his fights. Knocked out Cannonier, and yeah, got the job done. So I reckon Imavov beat Allen by decision. Now, moving up to the main event. Renato Moicano versus BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, Moicano's an interesting fighter, to say the least. I mean, I can't tell if he's good or not, you know? Like, he's had a lot of... he's had some good wins, and then he's had some, bad losses as well, to be fair. But he is on, like, a 3-fight winning streak at the minute. Beat Drew Dober, which was, he kind of, like, was a weird fight. I mean, he was getting, like, beat on the feet, but then on the ground, he was dominating. Jalen Turner, same thing, really, I think. He got nearly knocked out in the first round, but Jalen Turner could have won the fight, but he decided to do a walk-off celebration for some reason, which was stupid as fuck. But yeah, you managed to get the finish there. Benoit Saint-Denis, he's very good. I mean, his only 2 losses are to Zheleznyakova in his first UFC fight, and then his last one, which is Dustin Poirier. I mean, that was a way too high of a step up in the rankings for Benoit Saint-Denis. Like, he should not have... Like, he just beat Matt Frevola, and then he got put against the, number 1 contender. So it was too high of a setup. But I feel like Moicano is a very winnable fight for BSD here. I mean, we saw what happened in the Jalen Turner fight. He got rocked on the feet. I feel like it's going to happen here. I think Benoit Saint-Denis is not going to go to the ground with Moicano, even though he has a lot of like finishes by submission. I feel like he's going to be the better striker here, and Saint-Denis gets the KO in round number 1. So there we have it. There are my picks for UFC Fight Night, Moicano versus Denis. Make sure you let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. And that's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, maybe leave a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.